All right, we'll get started here. Welcome, everyone. This is Dr. Clark, the Center for Weight Loss Success. Today on Losing Weight Hampton Road, Losing Weight USA, we're going to be talking about kind of fitness and very beginning fitness. So this is getting into some of the real basics of this stuff. All right, welcome to Losing Weight USA, real-time answers to your weight loss questions, some of the latest updates in research, as well as a little bit of expert advice. Gives you direct access not only to me, but you should be receiving the health tips and recipes via the membership portal. And I encourage you, get into the membership portal. We keep adding more and more things in there. Each of these webinars will last about 30 minutes or so. If you have questions, just type them into the chat box as we go along. We'll get to the answers at the end of the presentation. If you think of things once we're all done, just give us a yell here at the Center for Weight Loss Success. The email is success@cfwls.com. Phone number 757-873-1880. All right, so let me get the slides flipped here. There we go. All right, so what are we going to talk about today? Again, we're talking about basic fitness, and we're going to start right at the beginning. What is the definition of fitness? What are some of the benefits of exercise? Talk about what to wear, when to exercise, a little bit of the basic components of a fitness regimen, a few precautions, and then just some lifestyle changes that we can incorporate into our day-to-day lives that will increase our activity just during the day, which is most of our calories are actually burned not during fitness, but just day-to-day living. And so if we can actually increase the little activity that we do, it can only help us. All right, so beginning a fitness program certainly can be overwhelming, okay? It does require an active behavior change. I mean that I've talked about kind of behavior change all the time. You know, can I do it? Is it worth it? You have to be able to answer yes to those questions. So this requires an active behavior change. We're going to change our behavior. We're going to start a fitness program. Most people should really start with baby steps, especially if it's been a long time since you've had been in any type of fitness program or regime or going to a fitness center or anything like that. Start with baby steps. But there is a lot of truth to that Nike tagline of just do it. Okay, yeah, it's very important. It's an incredible health benefit. This activity and fitness. Often people want to say, gee, if I were exercising, I'd lose weight a lot faster. That actually is probably not very true. If you're exercising, you're going to be healthier, but you don't necessarily lose weight faster. You typically will lose weight longer, and it'll be a lot easier to keep that weight off. But exercise itself, it's a rare person that can truly exercise themselves to weight loss. Not impossible, but it's a rare person if that's true. Okay, exercise is a very important health thing. So what is the definition of fitness? Fitness is basically your health at its very best. That's what fitness is. Your health at its very best. So fitness really represents good health and or a kind of good physical condition. Okay, so those two things usually go along together, but not necessarily. So it represents good health as well as good physical condition there. All right, so what are the benefits of physical activity? And you could probably list these all off. So a physically active lifestyle is going to provide psychological as well as emotional benefits, and this is going to contribute to your overall well-being. But just from a medical standpoint too, physical activity can reduce blood pressure. It can reduce cholesterol, reduce body fat. It helps treat depression and anxiety. It's a great stress reliever. It's one of the best ways to actually keep insulin levels under control. That's why, when they talk to diabetics or insulin resistant people, exercise is one of the best ways to help control that. So kind of everyone ought to exercise. Exercise can also increase your HDL. HDL is the good cholesterol. So the higher that number, the HDL number, which is part of your lipid profile, But the HDL is the good cholesterol. But it also increases strength, it increases work capacity, mobility. It helps with heart function. So it helps in many, many different ways. And if you think about it, one of the most important things as we age is to protect or continue with our mobility. If we lose our mobility, it's like, well, now we can't do the things we want to do. So staying active is one of the best ways to keep active. Okay? It also protects against osteoporosis. Exercise is one of the best things to help prevent that, as well as it can help prevent against certain cancers. So it's like there are so many benefits to physical activity. The real question is why isn't everybody doing this? Okay. The bottom line is that you're going to improve your overall quality of life. No matter how you look at it, quality of life improves. Now, we have to be ready for exercise, and it's not easy, but it's up to you. Again, this is an active behavior change. And part of this active behavior change, it requires acquiring knowledge. And so, yes, we have to learn what's to do and what's appropriate, what's inappropriate, what's, where to start out in this whole thing. So we need to acquire knowledge, and you need to acquire knowledge of the benefits of exercise, but also the risk of not exercising. And keep that in mind too. So, if you're not exercising, there's a risk there. Okay? And don't underestimate the power of support. With exercise, the buddy system is one of the best ways. Same with weight loss, really. The buddy system really works well. But the power of support is so important. If you have someone you exercise with, I meet at the fitness center, you're accountable to each other, the buddy system works. And as you're thinking about exercise, getting into exercise, use imagery. When I say imagery, what I mean is that picture postcard view. Kind of figure out, what is that picture postcard view? See yourself at goal. Kind of see what am I going to look like? How is this going to be? Okay, that picture postcard is always a good thing. So use imagery there. And then finally, commit. Okay, we're not going to really accomplish anything if we don't commit to doing these things. Exercise really needs to become a habit. It needs to get to that point where if I'm not doing it, something's not quite right with my day. So that if you make that a habit, and it takes time for that to happen. Now, prior to just jumping into exercise, I would encourage you, check with your primary care physician, your nurse, whoever you see. From an overall health perspective, is check with your health, check your health at your doctor, with your doctor, primary care physician before starting. So am I good enough to actually start? And there may be, I need to slowly start and get into this thing. Walking programs are the best ways to start. Okay, but again, it's just a start. Walking's a tremendous activity. I would encourage people to do it. Everybody should do it, as well as then kind of stepping that up too. All right, so you've made that decision to kind of get into an exercise program, a fitness program. Well, what are you going to wear? Okay, well, comfortable clothes. Yeah, so comfort is absolutely key. Depending on the weather, obviously in winter, you may want layers, you want to use light colors in the summer. So you want to avoid kind of the plasticized, rubberized suits. You want to avoid restrictive clothing. When I say restrictive clothing, I'm saying something that's truly squeezing you. On the other hand, compression garments are actually they can be very helpful. So you see a lot of athletes wearing compression garments. That's different than when I'm talking about restrictive clothing. So compression garments have actually shown to be helpful. They help in recovery. They help with during the exercise. They also help with quicker recovery in that. So you'll see a lot of athletes wearing either arm sleeve, compression garment, compression legs, things like that. Those things can actually be helpful. Okay, some of them, you tend to get what you pay for there too. So, but you can find fairly inexpensive compression garments either. Again, not the same as restriction. Okay. All right, for women, yes, you want a good supportive bra, sports bra. They're easy. It used to be they're hard to find. They're easy to find now. You can go into most department stores, they're going to have sports bra. You can go and find, if you search online, you'll get a million hits. And it's finding one that works for you. Okay. So everyone that's starting in a fitness program, you should have proper fitting and supportive equipment. And this includes athletic shoes. Okay. Bottom line is comfortable shoes. Do they have to be truly athletic shoes? Well, if you're in a walking program starting it, they just need to be comfortable so that you can get around them. But there are lots of choices out there, from relatively inexpensive choices to the really expensive top of the line. Cross trainers tend to be great for a variety of different activities. Now, if you're really getting into a certain activity, tennis, swimming, jogging, whatever it is, then getting into the actual kind of the mindset of those type of athletes can be very helpful. So utilizing kind of equipment specific for those type of activities is certainly a good idea. But just from a can do anything type, cross trainers tend to work very well. You do want to replace your shoes, every 6 months to a year, depending on how much you're utilizing them. Okay. Realize that a lot of the support, even if the shoes look great, they still look new. If you've been using them fairly routinely, they start to lose their support. And so subsequently, even though they're not worn out, is that especially nowadays, shoes will often look good for an extended period of time. It used to be that you wore these sneakers, whatever, all day, and we subsequently then wore them out very quickly. Well, nowadays it actually is hard to wear some of these things out. So, but it doesn't mean they shouldn't be replaced, especially kind of if you have a good pair of shoes that has really kind of good support in it. It'll tend, if you're using them routinely 3-4 times every week for whatever activity you're doing, is that you may need to replace them every 6 months to a year. All right, how about when? So we're going to exercise. Is there a best time to exercise? The bottom line, there is no best time. There's no best time. It's not like, gee, you're better exercise in the morning, better exercise in the evening. It doesn't matter. Okay, there is no best time, but for each of us, it's probably best to have a routine time. Meaning that, okay, if I do in the morning, it's kind of, I typically do it in the morning at a certain time, or I do it in the afternoon at a certain time. Jumping all over different time frames, it's too easy to get interrupted. It's too easy to kind of something else to take its place. So I would encourage you, try to figure out a routine time that works for you, but it doesn't matter when that time actually is. So you want to consider kind of what for you is a better time preference. In my ideal world, I would love to get up and work out early in the morning. But throughout my entire lifetime, I've never been able to function that well exercising early in the morning. It just doesn't work for me. I typically like to exercise late in the day. Now, sometimes the timing doesn't work well in the days. I'm busy doing other things. It'd be nice if I felt comfortable working first thing in the morning. I'd just get up and go ahead and work out, and then subsequently be done and check that box, so to speak. But I've never done well with working out in the morning. It just doesn't work well for me. So you do have to consider those time preference for you. Other things to play into this, job demands, family responsibilities, what's the availability of whatever fitness facilities you might use, whether it be home, whether it be a fitness center, wherever, what's the weather if I'm going outside, when am I going to have the least interruptions, can I actually schedule myself so that I won't be interrupted this whole time. So you do want to, have it you time. This is kind of your time for fitness. Nobody else needs to be bothering you, except maybe your workout buddy. All right, so what then are kind of the basic components of a fitness regimen? Well, bottom line is that we like to mix up cardiovascular and resistance training. Okay, that's kind of the simplified version. Cardiovascular is anything that gets your heart rate up. So dancing, swimming, jogging, any biking, doesn't matter. Anything that gets heart rate up. That's cardiovascular exercise. Resistance training is doing exercise against resistance. Body weight often works well, but we often think of resistance training as weight training, which it is. And you can use weights, you can use bands, you can use body weight. They all work very well. But I would also encourage you not to ignore flexibility exercises, stretching exercises, balance exercises. These are things we tend to lose as we get older. So yes, mix up the cardiovascular and the resistance training. I'm a big fan of resistance training. Body weight works great. You actually don't need any equipment then. You don't need a whole lot of space. You can do it just about anywhere. But don't forget about flexibility, which is stretching, as well as balance exercise, because these are things we lose as time goes on, as we get older. So as we're starting this fitness regimen, use the FIT principle. FIT principles, FIT, which stands for frequency, intensity, and then time, duration. Okay? So frequency is kind of how often are you going to do this? Whatever it is you're doing. Whether it's going out for a walk, whether going out for a jog, and going for a biking day, I'm going swimming, I'm going dancing, whatever it is. How often are you doing this? Once a week, twice a week, every day, 2 times a day, whatever your frequency is. The intensity, so FIT principle, the F is frequency, the I is intensity, which means how hard am I actually doing this? And that's going to change day to day, workout to workout, how hard you're doing it. You may want to have certain days, hey, I do this really intensely, and I do it for a shorter period of time. Or I can have, okay, not quite so intense, I may extend that time out. Okay? But these are things to utilize when you're figuring out frequency and how intensity that you're going to make it, and then how long that you're going to do. The duration of what you're going to do. Is it going to be a half-hour segment, 15-minute segment? Is it going to be an hour segment there? It's hard to come up with big blocks of time. Okay, now if you can, that's great. Okay, but most of us are busy, and so subsequently using smaller blocks of time is always a good idea too. But use the FIT principle. Okay, frequency, intensity, duration, time. Okay. And you do want to make sure you warm up prior and cool down and stretch after any workout. A good warm up is just to do whatever exercise you're going to do at a lower intensity. So if I'm going to be out, I'm jogging, or if I'm running, it's like, okay, how about a fast walk to get started? Get warmed up, get that blood pumping, very slow jog then, and transition into your actual workout there. But you can do this with just about any, whatever. If you were swimming, it's going to be okay, getting in, just kind of doing some warm-up type of things. But you can use the same exercise of whatever it is you're planning on doing as kind of your warm-up prior to getting down and really into the exercise routine. And at the end of the exercise, and this is probably a lot of times people will stretch beforehand, which isn't a bad idea, but it's probably more important to actually stretch when you're done. Okay, the muscles are warm, they're limber, you've utilized them, now stretch. You don't want them kind of all tightening up then. So kind of stretch out then after any workout, cool down after any workout. So if you were running, then potentially walking for a period of time to cool down, stretching then, now I'm done with my workout. So work that in. You can have a warm up and a cool down there. Okay. Hydrate. Hydration is very important. We harp on this all the time from an eating perspective. Hydration is very important, but also in an exercise where you're going to be losing heat, you're sweating, you're going to lose a lot of water this way. Hydrate. Okay, push the water. And then finally, in whatever exercise you're doing, use correct form. And sometimes this is where utilizing a personal trainer can help with using correct form. You need to learn correct form before you can actually utilize correct form. So again, mix up the cardiovascular and the fitness, cardiovascular and the resistance training, throw in some stretching as well as balance exercise, use the FIT principle, frequency, intensity, and time. Okay, warm up, cool down. Hydrate, use correct form. Now, kind of once we're kind of getting into an activity plan, exercise plan, there are lots of lifestyle changes we can incorporate to just increase our day-to-day activity of all things that's not formal exercise. And anything that's not formal exercise that we're still being active from is referred to as NEAT. NEAT is N-E-A-T. NEAT stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So it's non-exercise activity. It's not formal exercise, but it is activity still. And thermogenesis means the way we burn calories. So NEAT, non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Okay, so that depends on what do. So do we get up and take a walk during the day? A break from sitting in front of the screen or on the telephone or something. Or I get up and I pace while I'm talking on the telephone. If I'm watching something at night and there's little, nowadays with streaming services, there aren't many commercials, but the commercials, get up, take a quick walk while the commercial's going on. So little quick walks during the day, take the stairs as opposed to the elevator. If you're going out to the mall, park a little further away. There are a lot of little things we can do during the day that actually is going to help increase our calorie burn. Most of our calories that we're burning throughout the day occur just by our day-to-day activity. It's actually very little, few calories that are actually burned during the exercise process itself. Okay. So anything we can incorporate during the day, which will increase our activity, is only going to help us in the long run. All right, so a few tips for success as we get along here. You want to start slowly. So if you're not used to exercising routinely, start slowly because you want to avoid injury. You want to vary the activity, you want to vary the routine, you want to vary the intensity. And one of the, digress here for a second, is that one of the biggest misconceptions about exercise is that as I get further and further into exercise, that I need to exercise longer. It's like, gee, I used to come to the gym and I was only here for half an hour and I was done. It's like, okay, so now I need to come up to an hour, hour and a half. I need to have those long fitness times. So that's one of the biggest misconceptions, is I've got to lengthen how long you're exercising. Now, as you get more fit, what you actually want to do is shorten the exercise time, bump up the intensity. So if you shorten the exercise time, bump up the intensity, you can get a much even more and better workout in a shorter period of time. So vary the routine, vary the intensity as you become more fit. Don't be afraid to bump up that intensity, shorten the workout time. You'll actually get more from it. You do want to make sure you're listening to your body. Pain is an important message that you're pushing it. If you're now being a little sore and stiff after working out, that's okay. But if it's lasting more than 24 hours, gee, I have pain, it's like, no, you're injuring yourself then. So you don't want to be, pain is an important message that, hey, back off a little bit. Okay. If you have injuries, seek professional help, whether it be physical therapy, personal trainers, but you do want to kind of start off on the right foot. And so I do encourage people, working with a personal trainer is a great way to get started. They can help. It also makes you very accountable. And so subsequently then, it's not like you have to work with a personal trainer forever or all the time. It's like, no, maybe once a week, once a month, you can do this. But to get started, having some sessions with a personal trainer is a great idea. All right. Fairly simple kind of discussion here, but it's also very, very important. Kind of getting started in a fitness program, very important. It doesn't matter what age you are, where you're starting from, just start now, get some professional help if you need it. And don't see any questions out there, but if you think of things, just give us a yell here at the Center for Weight Loss Success. And again, I do encourage you, make sure you're getting into the membership portal. You should be receiving the health tips and weekly recipes. And then tune in each Tuesday, 12:15 for the next webinar. Watch your email for the invite and link. And remember, It's your life. Make it a healthy one. Have a good day, everyone. Take care.